All right, everybody, Michael Cohen here with you, Sports Talk Nation. And before we get into this discouraging, disappointing, and possibly season-deciding defeat for the New York Jets as they lose 16-12, obviously was here in Las Vegas this weekend, out here to see this game between the Jets and the Raiders. And let's just take, before we get into the game, kind of a quick tour of the facilities here, Allegiant Stadium, as you see here. This stadium is absolutely amazing. It is, of course, right here in the middle of Las Vegas. There you see the Mandalay Bay, the MGM Grand. It's a little bit of a stretch to get to from where I came from with the Hilton Resorts World, but it is a beautiful facility to have here for the Las Vegas Raiders, and you can really tell why this place is going to be the host for Super Bowl 58 in a couple of months. This place is an absolute gem here in the middle of the deserts here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Here you see the entryway coming into the stadium. You see these decorative lights they have in the first level, and then as you make your way to the second level in the concourse, you can look out the window, you can see the strip of Las Vegas, and then painting across to see the Al Davis Flame here at Allegiant Stadium. Just absolutely well done. They've really done an outstanding job in building this stadium here for the Raiders. Here, for those who, and of course there are a lot of Jet fans here at the stadium this weekend. There are a lot of Jet fans here at Allegiant Stadium as well. For those who do make it, this is kind of the way into the stadium. This is what it looks like. For those wondering, what's it look like getting into the ballpark? There you go. It's just, again, every seat, from what I can tell, looks like a great seat. The seats that I had here in the lower part of the upper deck were really, really good. And if compared to MetLife Stadium, pales in comparison. MetLife Stadium, the Jets, from what they've been able to do at MetLife Stadium, at least in primetime games, they have that beat from the standpoint of the stadium, as far as the acoustics are concerned, the light show that the Jets put on. But still, the Raiders do this. They have a band there, live band on hand, that just adds a tremendous atmosphere to the stadium. Of course, you also have the Raiderettes, and just really everything was an absolute show that the Raiders put together in their pregame festivities. It really just kind of gets you going. Even as someone who has no rooting interest in the Raiders at all, and of course is rooting for the other team, you can't help but just kind of sit there in awe and just kind of take it all in and enjoy the pageantry that is put together here at Allegiant Stadium. Again, here's their introduction of their players. They have a small light show, but nothing too crazy the way the Jets did it earlier in the year at MetLife Stadium. Now we get into this game, and it was again a disgrace. Now here's the big play of the game for the Jets. I thought was one of the main deciding drives in this game. This is where the Jets have a chance. You're in a game where the Jets are leading 6-3, and if they get this touchdown, they can go up 13-3. Of course, Zach Wilson takes the snap here from center, drops back, rolls to his right, and he has daylight as he goes down the sideline into the end zone. We all know what happens here, folks. They say he stepped out of bounds, and it cost the Jets dearly, cost them the touchdown. They try again a couple of plays later, this time with Breece Hall, as he will run up the middle here. They get a touchdown, but then they get that call back for a holding penalty. The Jets absolutely killed themselves with penalties in this game. They were flagged for 8 penalties, but it felt like so much more because each penalty hurt so much for this team throughout this game, and they kept going backwards and backwards in this drive. And as a result, end up having to kick a field goal. So instead of being up 13-3 in the second quarter, and essentially in a game that, as we all know, was a very low-scoring game, this was really the deciding factor, one of the main deciding factors. And Wilson had a rough day. The offensive line was absolutely awful. I mean, they just couldn't create time in the pocket. They kept getting flagged for holding penalties, chop blocks, you name it. It was just a complete and total disaster for this offense that just lacks creativity, lacks focus, and just doesn't seem able to put anything together that is a positive for this Jets team right now. And then you see Aaron Rodgers there. The rumors that he at some point could come back by mid-December. By that point, the Jets season could be over. In fact, it might be over already. This defense has carried the Jets all season, and you can only ask this defense to do so much. They did a good job in this game. They held the Raiders to just 16 points. Even when They got that big run by Josh Jacobs. They still found a way to shut the Raiders down, hold them to a field goal. I mean, they did everything right in this game. There's nothing you can say bad about what the Jets defense did. They were absolutely phenomenal. Special teams, phenomenal. But the offense just couldn't get the job done. Now, at this point in the fourth quarter, you have Aiden O'Connell throwing a touchdown pass to Michael Mayer, and it gives the Raiders a 16-9 advantage. As I'm going to let you watch the play right here. At this point, I pretty much thought the game was over because this Jet offense, as I just said, did absolutely nothing to make it believe that they could go down and put points on the board. And again, the Jets got chances after chances, opportunity after opportunity. They had a good chance here at one point in the fourth quarter to try to take the lead. Ended up having to set up for a field goal. I believe this was a play here late in the game. I think this was a huge third down, and the Jets couldn't even convert this down, and having to kick a field goal here to make it a 16-12 game. And this is why a lot of people have doubts about Zach Wilson, because in the big spot, yes, he has a big arm. Yes, he can shoot the ball down the field. But in the big spot, in a situation where he needs to get in the tight window, the Jets are trying down 4 points in a gotta-have-it situation at the end of the game. He throws the big pick as Robert Spielline comes up with the interception. This stadium exploded. I mean, it really just exploded when that pick was made. And the game, it looked like it was over. But guess what? The Raiders are just as bad as the Jets are, because they had a fumble that was kind of a phantom fumble, like that shouldn't have happened. They also had a situation where they decided for whatever reason to throw the ball on third down, and that almost got picked off by the Jets. The Raiders have to punt the ball back to New York, and it gives the Jets one last chance, one last heave, potentially, to try to pull a game out from the fire, as Zach Wilson has to roll all the way to the left and try to do an Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball into the end zone. As we know, Garrett Wilson and Tyler Conklin both got their hands in it. Either one of them could roll into the ball. And the Jets lose 16-12. I just don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say. The Jets are 4-5. You look around the AFC, folks, it's going to be very difficult for the Jets to get to the playoffs at this point. The AFC North is stacked. You got the Cleveland Browns beating the Ravens this afternoon. You got the Steelers winning. They're also 6-3. The Texans look tremendous right now. They're 5-4. The Raiders right there at 5-5. The Jets right now are 13th in the AFC right now. Their chances of getting to the playoffs continue to shrink. The poor play by this offense, the poor play by the quarterback, the poor decision-making and play calling by the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, and for whatever reason, the lack of, you want to say accountability, you want to say decision-making by Robert Saleh to do something to spark this team offensively. It's like the Jets are just sitting there saying, well, we're going to wait it out until Aaron Rodgers comes back. Well, you know what? By the time Aaron Rodgers is supposedly ready to come back, if he even does that this year, as I said, this season could be lost if it's not lost already. And the Jets have now lost back-to-back games in conference to the Chargers and the Raiders, 2 games they could not afford to lose, 2 games that when you looked at the schedule after that giant win, you thought the Jets had to win these 2 games, because next up is Buffalo and Miami the next 2 weeks. And if they don't win those 2 games, it's lights out, folks. It just is. It's lights out. I just don't know what else to say. I'll say this. It was fun coming to Las Vegas. It was an experience. Certainly had some good time with the slots. But a loss is still a loss. It was happy. It was nice to be down here. Great to see so many Jet fans come down. At times it felt like kind of like a home game. Although we didn't hear too much of Fireman Ed, we did see certainly saw Fireman Ed at the Jets Fan Fest on Friday night. So a good trip. Glad I came down here. It was nice to be a part of this atmosphere here. But we head on home with as usual for Jet fans, with our tails between our legs. Folks, like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time. Sports Talk Nation.